Hey, boys and girls, weather report for June 8th, 2021. We are so excited, but we don't know why.
Yeah, that's right. It's always good to know that there's another stream coming.
I'm very upset. I'm upset with some friends of yours too.
Mine?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. I'm very upset with friends of yours with 4 legs, that they're very good with their hands.
Goats?
No, not goats. no. They have 4 legs. And
raccoons.
Yes.
Why? What'd they do to you?
I'm very upset with them. I think one got in my goddamn garden last night.
Oh.
No, actually not last night, the night before. I tried a new technique this year, which I've never tried before. I actually went to the pond and caught some sunfish and put them in the garden for fertilizer.
Yeah, you got to bury them deep.
Yeah, so I did. Well, they were pretty deep. Now, I didn't dig down to see if he got them, but I think it probably was a raccoon, I would assume, because, or it could have been a fox. Like I said, I had a family of foxes in the yard. So last year, I think the year before last, we had a family out there, but we didn't. Yeah, no, it was last year. And they didn't come back this year. I haven't seen them. So, but anyway, yeah. So I assume it was a raccoon that dug into my garden to get out the fish. I mean, he must have smelled them, obviously. And
yep. Yeah.
So yeah.
I used to bury fish in my garden underneath all the tomato plants. But
Yeah.
We had a 2 Saint Bernards, and we had a half wolf, half German Shepherd, who killed raccoons like instantly. He never got a wound from a raccoon. If you see a regular coon dog, they got scars all over them. This wolf, he would go and grab those raccoon and just shake them and kill them. Like he was. But anyway, you want to get one of those if you're going to plant fish in your garden.
Yeah,
but
this is the first time I tried it. I saw it. I don't know, somewhere. I must have watched a video or something. I saw it. And I was like, oh, I'd like to try that because, last year I used
really works.
Yeah, I know. I'm sure it does. Well, last year you can buy the fertilizer in liquid, like I don't know what it's made out of. Fish.
Liquid fish.
Probably,
oil.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. And I used that last year and it worked really good. And I actually haven't got any. I've been trying to get to the store to grab some more of that. But I wanted to try the fish too, like actual real fish, and put it in to see how that works too,
Yeah.
And I tried that this year, and then of course the damn raccoon got in there. I was like, oh boy, maybe that wasn't such a good idea.
So 2 nights ago, yeah.
Oh,
hang on.
Never mind. Go ahead.
Okay, 2 nights ago, I heard this loud crash upstairs, and of course I went up there and checked it out, see what the hell was going on, and talked to my son. He said he didn't hear it because he had headphones in. And I just went and checked everything and went back in. Well, I went out yesterday, and we had this flower, this long, like, wooden flower thing. And it's what the raccoons get up on. They go into my garbage. They open the lid because they're big cans, and they go in there and they eat, and then they come out and they close the garbage. And they don't make a mess, so, we didn't have a problem. But he knocked that thing over, apparently. So little suckers, I don't know what they're going to do now, how they're going to get in the garbage. But they are little bastards. I don't know how he knocked that over. Maybe there were like 5 of them on that thing. I'm not sure.
Speed.
But, yeah.
You mentioned instantaneous with your wolf friend there. Don't you know that simultaneity doesn't exist?
Oh, yes.
I use the proper terminology and relativity,
okay. Man. I was relative to instantaneous. It was quick. Let's just say it was really quick. So what is?
I'm just messing with you.
Oh my God, this is slow. Everything is slow on my computer. I probably should have booted. In the beginning, God or dirt.
Orge says he got an email from a bald raccoon lover.
He did.
Yeah.
Because we're going to talk a little bit about crackers. Dr. Crackers. Dr. Crackers.
You know, I've been craving saltines and peanut butter all day long.
I'm just wondering about structural geology, college education, and geology, and crackers. That's what I'm wondering about. And I thought Orge would come in and entertain us.
Yeah, Orge, come on in. This is some geology stuff.
A little bit.
Does anyone know how many species of crackers there are? I'm curious.
I promised goats. Graham crackers and soda crackers. That's it. Fuck it. There's
just two species of crackers?
Just two. Let's see. Okay, I'm trying to find something. Come on, guys. Give me a break. Oh, here we go. Orge. Let Orge in. Orge, we'll get to it in a minute. Anyway, let's see. I will put this in the link. But anyway, we found, and we got to get rid of that so we can actually see the article. But apparently they found the oldest livestock genome in Iran in like a 10,000-year-old archaeological dig that they came up with, 10 or 11,000 years old in the Aceramic period, which is pre-pottery. And they have been digging on this site, I think, since before the 80s, but the wars and all kinds of political intrigue prevented them from going back, but they went back and they got all these bones from multiple animals. And they took a look at the mtDNA, and they found out the haplogroups are in basically all of the goats that are domesticated today. And now goats are highly related to, Bos or bovine. They're like a sister branch. So I'm not sure why they would say oldest livestock genome. They must have been oldest goat genome. And there's a paper associated with this, so I just thought it was kind of interesting. Let's see, 8,200 to 7,600 BCE. People lived, hunted, and grew crops in these fertile valleys in the mountains. So Capra Egagris, I believe it is the, what is that, the domesticated goat, or is that the wild species? Hi, Kath, what you doing? I don't know. Anyway, so I put a picture of a goat, and that was really all we had on goats. I'll put a link to this paper. This is in, It's Science, the latest issue, I think. And this latest issue had some other stuff. Where is it? We won't worry about it. Well, maybe we should.
Might be a little bit of phylogenetics in there, but I don't think that's my kind of phylogenetics.
Oh, but there's stuff in there that you want to look at. Definitely.
Orge said he doesn't have a whole lot of time. Speed.
What's that?
Orge says he doesn't have a whole lot of time, so why don't we get to the geology-related stuff
Geology.
first?
Okay.
And then swing back.
Rocks.
Yeah, I got a pretty busy day today, so I maybe can do like a half hour, you know.
Well, you're like too busy for us?
Yes, this is true.
I see how it is. Maybe you're one of the people that unsubscribed yesterday.
Let me check. Nope, I am still subscribed.
Okay. Anyway, so mountain building with Dr. David Cracker. Did I play this before? I don't think I found the clip before. But anyway, so here it is. Oh shit! Whoops. We are muted as hell.
I can't see anything either.
Really? Yeah, what the hell's going on?
People are seeing things here and there.
Okay,
Andrew
I can see it.
I can see it.
Yeah, okay, you can see it now?
All right, there you go.
Okay, here's Dr. Cracker.
Silurian rocks. Now, why are they called Silurian?
They're called Siluria. They were the Silurian period was named after let's see, it was named after a Celtic tribe called the Silur, and the Cambrian was also named after a Celtic tribe. So,
Oh, I
that's
didn't
why
know
they
about
call
the Cambrian.
yeah. Anyway, so this guy thinks that creationists did it.
Because they have this particular brachiopod in it. See, it has nothing to do with evolution. It has everything to do with the fact that creationists named the rocks all those years ago, and
Did they?
these names have stuck. But back to my point. This is a real piece
Mannequins.
of fossiliferous
What?
limestone.
Yeah, just saying that makes him an idiot from the start. Maybe at the beginning of his life he wasn't an idiot, but it was named by creationists long ago. You know,
I
that
know.
whole geology was started by creationists or something. You know, because they believed in catastrophism or whatever.
That's like saying Big Bang Theory is creationism because it was proposed by George Romich, who was a Christian.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
Oh, yeah. Anyway,
That's all I had.
okay, we'll go ahead. Oh, I'm still hung up on this. I'm sorry. So, okay, so there was a guy, Sir Roderick Murchison. Does anybody want to look him up? The wealthy Scottish aristocrat, and he's the one that named the Silurian, and somebody else named the Cambrian, but they both were both named after a Welsh Celtic tribe.
Yes.
So the Silurs, and I'm not sure about the Cambrian. What would they be called? So anyway, that's where the name came from, and I didn't know that till today when I thought I'd fact check this sucker. So I was Dr. Cracker. Moving on.
Okay, George, let's start putting pressure on both sides of this limestone.
Of Cracker.
The way Professor Bucher said back in the 50s. So we begin to put pressure. Oh, no, Mrs. McQueen is not looking. If we put pressure, what happens to our cracker? Can you see the problem, George? The problem is the problem of rock mechanics.
Wait,
How in
what
the
the hell?
world?
What did I just miss?
What'd you miss?
Yeah, what the fuck just happened? He just like make clicky noises with his mouth or something?
No,
Where's the cracker?
That was a cracker.
By the way, before she goes, happens to our cracker?
That's a cracker. See it? The resolution on his monitor or his video camera is just horrible. Okay,
So,
Yeah.
David want a cracker?
that's a cracker.
Can you see the problem, George?
Polly want a
The
cracker?
problem is the problem of rock mechanics.
Problem of rock mechanics. Okay, so this guy has a BS in geology from some southern university, which we really don't care about, and then a master's from Michigan.
Yes.
And he doesn't know about rock deformation. I mean, I've got 2 books on structural geology. I just got another one yesterday, and it's all about rocks bending, basically, and the temperature and pressure that they bend at. There are confining pressures, and with confining pressures and with the temperatures that you get when you go down 10 kilometers or when they're buried or whatever, or somehow there's overburden on them, is really high, and they're very, very plastic. In fact, gneiss is formed right around the melting temperature of rock. So that's when it comes to, close to magma or something like that. Am I getting any of this right, Orge?
You're jumping around a lot, but what you're saying is not incorrect. It's not really something associated just purely with rocks. Everything has a ductile and a brittle component to it. Yeah,
Right.
that book actually looks familiar to me. I don't know. I think that book's kind of well known. Every single material is
Fillings.
ductile until it's brittle, meaning it bends before it breaks. Literally
Right.
everything. And
Everything.
rocks are no different. And the more you heat up a rock, the softer it becomes naturally. And there is a difference between heating a rock to where it's essentially like a viscous fluid and heating a rock to where it's hard but still ductile. Like those
Right.
are 2 separate scenarios, and that's something that geologists and creationist geologists seem to, I guess, forget. Like you
Why?
can bend a cracker without breaking it.
Why doesn't Dr. Cracker know this?
He does. I guarantee you he does. But I think it's par for the course of playing to your audience. His audience wants this argument, so he's going to give this argument.
So he's a liar.
I'm not going to say that. He seems like a nice guy. I'm not really trying to pick a fight with McQueen, but I think that he spent so much time in the field of creation geology. This is kind of just the way he talks about this stuff. Like that, no geology class you're ever going to take is going to try to tell you that rocks behave like crackers and then crush them up. No geology class is ever going to fucking do that.
Okay, so he's not a liar, but he has brain damage.
You're being meaner than I'm willing to be at this moment. I like to be nice on live streams and mean in my videos.
Organ wants to be charitable for his brand.
I want to be charitable because the guy's not a dick. There's plenty of creationists out there that are just dicks. I don't mind calling them dicks. He's not a dick. Mr. Batman's a dick. You know, fuck Mr. Batman. Blow it out your ass, dude. I don't want to be mean to him because he's not a mean person, you know? But that's just how I do it, so.
Orge, am I echoing? Oh, am I solo?
Not good to me.
Oh, I thought I was echoing for a second there. So Orge, I have a quick question. So you mentioned difference between viscous fluid or rocks behaving like a viscous fluid and rocks behaving more like taffy, basically.
Ductile, yeah.
Yeah, would mantle rock, which category would upper mantle rock fall into?
So upper mantle rock is not fluid, but it does move. Upper mantle rock is exactly what you're talking about here. Where like you can't scoop up a hunk of mantle like you can say honey, because the pressure is so intense it doesn't enter the liquid state is the idea. But it still can transmit motion because the plates move around and stuff like that. Like it's some weird,
very slowly.
Yeah, it's like weird mathematics, right? I mean, you don't have to be a fluid to move 2 inches a year, you know? So, and you can look at things like what's that famous glass experiment of those cathedrals where the glass is slowly dripping down because glass technically is a fluid and flows, right? But no one's going to tell me glass is a liquid. Glass is obviously a solid. Like there's a difference between a liquid and a fluid.
Okay.
I just want to point something out about the brain damage. I mean, if you say a person has brain damage, you're not saying anything nasty about them. You're pointing out that they have a disability. They have a physical disability, and I mean that happens to some older people. So I mean,
you're not going to get me to insult someone who's not.
Why is that an insult to say somebody has brain damage?
I would, if someone told me I had brain damage and they said, "No, I'm just defining your characteristics," I would take that as an insult.
Why?
Because I do. I don't.
If you broke your arm and somebody said, "Oh, you're broken armed,"
I'd be very upset at them. Yes.
You'd be upset if they said you were broken armed.
Yes. How dare they?
Yes.
Oh yeah. Okay. I just want to straighten that out. But anyway, but I can't think of any other option because why would he be saying this cracker shit if he's got a master's in geology? He fucking knows better. Everyone knows better. Why do they keep repeating this lie over and over again? What is wrong with these people?
Creation scientists who know better about biology but still say it defies evolution.
Yeah.
But why?
Yeah.
And now, I just want to go get some French onion dip and some crackers and just start dipping.
Well, his cracker analogy fails because his crackers will bend before they break.
Yeah.
That's the whole point. Yeah. Like, that's what they do. And if you bend that cracker over a long amount of time, it will probably, there's a certain amount of plasticity to everything. The cracker can deform. Like these things can happen. Every single material can be deformed. Deformation. And the reason why rocks deform and keep their bend is because you have the long time period. You don't deform mud and then it keeps its structure. Like that's not what happens.
Yeah.
So that's one of the beautiful things about geology is it's happening right now at a person-sized scale right outside your door. you can go test these theories.
Yeah.
Try
So,
to make Grand
They're
Canyon.
looking at it through the
It's not
wrong
gonna work.
lens, basically.
does limestone transform under pressure?
Well, limestone turns into marble. Marble is
Okay, yeah,
Um,
I knew it was something like
metamorphized
that.
limestone.
I just could not remember, and I am ignorant in so many areas of geology. It's sad.
So in these books, they have chapter after chapter after chapter about how they take columns. They cut like columns of various stones, and then they heat them up, and they confine them. So there's
Yeah.
confining pressure, and a tremendous amount of confining pressure, and then they measure where they fracture. How much pressure they can handle before they actually fracture, that sort of thing. And they got curve. They got curve after curve after. I'm imitating SFD, paper after paper. Anyway, they have all these curves about. You just growled, Andrew.
Huh? What?
No, you just made an unapproving noise. Anyway,
I did.
when I said it was imitating SFT, you made an unapproving noise.
You sure that wasn't the truck that just started up next door?
It could have been. Who
It
knows?
probably was. I didn't say anything.
You seem to make an unapproving noise. I'm very sensitive today. Yeah, something like that. Anyway, so and they've got just a ton of mathematics involved in it, and they know all about this. And this guy is saying he's cracking crackers on this. I'm really upset about that.
So, do they have machines that they use to simulate pressure and heat and all that for stones? I mean, for rocks and stuff. Jorge?
I've dealt with thermal ovens before for rocks, and I've dealt with like essentially presses, hydrologic presses for rocks. But I personally have never done something that does both.
Yeah.
I believe you can study this stuff, but most of this has already been done. Like we already have the charts, we already have the figures for most assemblages that you find in nature. This stuff's very important for mineral and oil surveying, knowing how these pressures form, what makes a cap, where does oil seep, stuff like that.
Pretty cool.
Hey, Jorge, is your research in structural deformation and geology, or is it something else?
No, I don't do research anymore. I did it back in the day. I've changed what I do. I'm in education now, but my research, I did research for about 8 years or so, 10 years or so in a lab, and I did magnetism research.
Oh, okay.
So rock magnetism and stuff like that.
Magnetism, not magmatism.
Yes, magnetism of rocks.
Okay. Can I ask another unrelated question this time about more plate tectonics, kind of, which is kind of what I'm interested in geology, if anything.
I did plate reconstruction stuff, so I'm very familiar with that. Yeah.
Okay. How come in textbooks or like high school textbooks and maybe even college textbooks, but like there's this idea that the driving force behind plate tectonics is primarily convection currents in the upper mantle. Why is that still being shown, even though we know that slab move or like subduction and things like that plays a role?
Slab pull, slab push.
Yeah.
Yeah. So to my knowledge, both are prevailing methods. Slab pull and slab push. So the gravity of it, right? If you have a subduction event occurring as the plate's being pulled down, it's pulling the rest of the plate down with it. But we also know that plates' directions all vary and change. Plates can stop moving, plates can move the other direction. Slab pull, slab push doesn't really explain how that can function.
Okay.
And so that's where mantle convection currents come in. Likewise, we know the mantle is convecting because that is what's producing the magnetic field we have.
Right. And it also provides kind of the ultimate source of energy, basically.
Yes. Earthquakes, volcanism, the center heat mass of the Earth, the heat is being released out in these forms.
Yeah,
So-
I'm just saying. I know it's a combination of different forces at different scales. I'm just wondering why that isn't being shown at a deeper level in some of these resources.
Mostly, I would argue because you're looking at like introductory textbooks and they want to connect the idea of the convection current. And a very obvious way to show convection current is exactly what I just said, because convection is a big part of introductory geology, right? You can't go too deep too quickly. Otherwise, you're going to kind of lose interest or you're going to confuse people.
True. Okay. Thanks, Jorge.
No problem. Yeah, I
Okay.
teach that stuff in my classes for kind of exactly what I
nice.
just.
I don't know. I think you can
That makes
go
sense.
deep as long as you have good models and you explain things well. But
I don't
Always-
work at very expensive schools. I don't have good models.
okay,
Like I have to bring in my own rocks for rock labs.
yeah. Oh, Minnesota. It's Minnesota. Why am I echoing?
We have a side chat question for Orge. Thanks for the super
Magnets.
chat, Brent. Never mind. I thought it was on another podcast. YouTube. Magnets. How do they work?
Fire, water, air, and earth, I believe.
Yeah,
Woo! Great groups. Some solid tunes there from the 70s.
it's
Exactly.
pretty cool. So I'm going to be going up along the Arrowhead up here on the North Shore, and there are some volcanic outcroppings up there right by Duluth, Minnesota. I think me and my son are going to take a road trip up there, and we're going to drive all the way to Canada on the North Shore of Lake Superior, which is, I don't know if you can see my cursor here. No, you can't. What the fuck? No, you can't see it on this. Anyway, but I'm surprised that Fossen, this is structural geology, surprised he had a picture of Minnesota.
So,
I mean,
go back to that picture of Minnesota there for a second.
yeah.
Orge, tell me the significance of a gravity map.
Gravity maps tell you density. So the benefit of a gravity map is you can find where more dense material is, and more dense material is metals, is ores. So this does a very good job of explaining where to look to find precious metals.
Gotcha.
It's a density map, but gravity responds to more dense structures, so that's why we call it gravity maps.
Yeah. You see that little crook where, the Arrowhead, the right side of Minnesota? If you go right up from where the Arrowhead starts, about 60 miles north, that's where I'm from, and that's where the Iron Range is. And there's a massive iron deposit that dives into the earth. So they
Yes.
started digging it where it was where it was on the surface, and they kept digging and digging and going further until they could dig no deeper, and then they had to quit. But anyway,
You know what that red streak down the right side is?
no,
That's the Mid-Continental Rift System.
yeah, okay.
Ooh.
And right there by that crook is where there's supposed to be outcroppings.
Yep.
There were some volcanoes that pushed up,
Yep.
and capitalized on the cracks because the continent was apparently stretching or something.
Yes.
Yeah, and it was and there were cracks, and there's a couple of outcroppings that were on the surface. Pretty interesting stuff. I'm trying to find the structural stuff.
Well, that's what you were just saying is one of the things I like to push when I teach geology courses at like colleges and stuff.
Yeah.
Is there is so much interesting geology out there. If you have like a little bit of knowledge of say structural geology, you go out for a walk with your dog, you're gonna find evidence of faulting and volcanism and deformation. And it's literally everywhere. And it's so cool to think about continents shoving into each other to make this little bend that you're looking at now,
Yep. And they get into it at the very beginning of this book. They get into the measuring, and the measuring is like, and I don't know anything about it, but on what is his name? Zentner, Nick Zentner.
Yep.
He went out with a geologist, and he was showing him how he used his iPhone to take measurements on the tilt and everything on rocks.
Yeah.
I'm trying to find out. This is the first edition. The print version I have is of the second edition, but I've got the first edition here. But there was a nice little oh my goodness. Oh, is that a rock cutter?
It looks like a rock saw, yeah.
Yeah.
Old hand powered one.
Yeah, nice.
And some slices out of the rock.
Yeah, because you want thin sections to put underneath microscopes to look at minute microstructures and stuff like that.
Yeah, and going through this and looking at how they measure everything, there's all these, they look for fault lines and they look for all these
Yeah,
different
so
tilts when they
what
find
we're
a rock.
looking at here, on the right side, those maps, those are like
Yep.
large-sized fault zones to say what the individual parts of the continents were doing and moving and contorting. And you can
Yeah.
follow that stuff from like surface level outcrop style examinations.
Yeah.
It looks like the center's a great circle that's probably showing where stresses came from on an individual rock. And then the left side would, I think, be an explanation of that great circle stress.
Yeah. So the point I wanted to make, the thing that struck me is the amount of measurement and detail and mathematics and chemistry and
Oh,
physics
it's nuts.
that goes into this. And these guys, like Dr. Cracker, that's all he reduces all that to crumbling a cracker and giving you some bullshit. And I just think that is a criminal use of a degree in geology. And so is he a criminal or is he a liar or does he have brain damage?
Yes, you gave me three. You gave me three very good choices there.
Okay.
I would say it's a confusing scenario of him trying to explain simple concepts and trying to make them sound deep. Because you can't go into the math with SFT's crowd; they're not going to follow it.
Right.
Likewise, I'm not going to go into math here a lot because I can lose a lot of you. So I'm not even going to try doing that, right? I'm not going to go on here just to sound smart. I want you guys to learn something.
So is he more like
But-
a carnival marker?
So he's like trying to give like a high school level lecture, but he wants you to feel like you're at a college. Is the kind of the way I describe it. So he wants you to feel smart, but he's saying stuff that's kind of dumb, and that's bad education. It doesn't work that way. So he could, he may know the math for all I know, but he kind of wants you to assume that you can talk the math without you showing him the math is my guess. And I still don't get the fucking crackers. That makes no sense to me. Rocks aren't crackers. He knows that.
Yeah.
Hey,
Okay.
Speed.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be right back in a few minutes, and then I had one more question for you, Orge, if that's okay.
Yeah, I gotta leave too, but I can wait till you get back.
Okay. All right, give me 1 second.
Okay. What else we got here? Deformation,
No,
detachment.
as you're saying, defamation is hugely complicated. They write literal textbooks on just this. You can get degrees in just structural geology and make mad money.
Yeah. I got.
They have mathematical descriptions of defamation going into advanced calculus and all this other stuff. And
Yeah. There's a lot of linear algebra that they use.
like all those matrices. Yeah,
And
it's all
tens-
basic matrices.
They probably use tensors.
Yep.
All that. Yeah, they even have a little course on linear algebra here. One-dimensional strain in 2 dimensions, but very interesting. But then, I watched Nick Zentner go out in the field and hang on a second here. Problem.
Yeah. All the stuff you're seeing here, you can see in rocks in the field. If you look at a squiggle in a piece in a rock and a gneiss or something like that, you can imagine that was once flat, and then all the forces that had to go in to form that squiggle. It's just crazy. I don't know how the flood turns granite into gneiss. That's another thing that's beyond me. But
Yeah, because gneiss has the interesting property that sometimes even crystals are deformed with the folds of the rock.
Yeah,
right. Because gneiss I think happens at a really a lot higher temperature, and even the crystals deform. How does mud deform a hard quartz crystal? That's what I'd like to know. I'd like a creationist to answer that question. So this is interesting. But when Nick Zentner goes into the field, and when I go out and start looking at rocks, there's just all of these complicated. I mean, there's all of these intersecting things, right? And they start telling the story about these things that happened.
yeah.
And it was like over millions of years. All of the you had a volcanic, extrusion, and then you have quartz that's basically silicon dioxide filled or dissolved in water, coming down little cracks and faults and depositing crystals right over time. I mean, none of that shit can happen very quickly.
Well, you technically don't deposit a crystal grows, but
It grows,
same
right?
difference.
Yeah. So you don't like the word deposit, eh? Okay.
Well, deposit is strictly a sedimentary term.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's the other thing. Now, the other thing that Giardina here was talking about in another video, Sal Giardina, I can't find any information about what degrees he has. All I know is he owns a creationist ministry in Arizona. So I couldn't find anything on him. But anyway, he's talking about all of these sediments in these just thousands of square miles of sediments that were laid down, and you don't see any erosion between them. What are they talking about?
That's something that I've argued with creationists. I've argued it with Neff hundreds of times. I don't know what they define by not seeing erosion when it's a rock. Like, I don't know because erosion is removal of material, right? Weathering is breaking it down. Erosion is removing it away. If you have different layers, there's no reason to assume some weathering and some erosion didn't happen. Just because another layer sits on top doesn't mean stuff didn't happen in between. Like, I don't know how you're supposed to see that it didn't happen.
I think what they're talking about is deposition in water or deposition like sand, basically sand blowing around. But anyway, how can there be deposition without erosion, for one thing?
Well, I guess if they want to use the argument that we're moving, say, from a mudstone, like a lake bottom, into a sandstone, which would be like a shallow beach environment, I suppose erosion wouldn't be a very driving factor in that. But then if you want to go from like a sandy beach environment to a swamp environment, a coral seam or what have you, you will have erosion on the sandy beach, but the discontinuity is still going to look the same. Like, it's still just going to be basically a thin line between the two where they separate, because the swamp could encroach in, say, 10,000 years, which is a snap of the finger in geologic terms. So you're not going to see this huge degradation because, you have like a quarter of an inch would all it'd be for the time for the swamp to inbreed. Or not inbreed, but like go forward into the beach. So I don't know what the hell they're expecting to find, and they never detailed it.
They always show these smooth layers, and then when I look at some pictures of the Grand Canyon, they're not all smooth.
Yep, that's something I need to yell at Richard Madsen about, because he keeps talking about how pure the chalk is at the White Cliffs of Dover. I want to know how you define pure chalk, because there's fossils in that chalk. There's particles of non-limestone in that chalk. Like, what is a pure chalk?
Yeah.
You can't tell me. You just keep saying the word pure because other creationists say it, and therefore you think it means something.
Yeah, I don't know. I just don't understand how they can put all that together. I guess if you listen to the wrong source and you put a bunch of stuff together in your mind, a bunch of just one shot factoids,
yep,
you will end up altering your belief, right? Like if you hear an anecdote about 3 people that got sick from the vaccine, then all of a sudden you're an anti-vaxxer. If you don't look any further, if you don't look in any more detail. You know what I mean?
I completely agree. And Nephilim Free is a fantastic example of that, because all he does is pull up his stupid text document with abstract titles and quote mines from scientists, and that's all he argues from. And if you press him any deeper on any particular subject, he can't.
Yeah.
That video that slideshow he pulls up with the mountains that are nicely bended and deformed. I asked him where the picture was from, and he didn't know. He just said the Rocky Mountains. I'm like, the Rocky Mountains are fucking huge. What part of the Rocky Mountains? Well, I don't know. Move on. What?
I had the same talk with him. One of my very early YouTube appearances, over a year ago. I was talking to Nephilim, and he was showing me this fold, and I kept asking him, "Where's that from?" I can't find it because I couldn't find it on Google Images, and he didn't know. He had no idea where it came from. But no, it was just absolute proof of flood mud, is what he was trying to prove. So
yep,
it was just amazing. Anyway, so but I think some of this deformation stuff and some of these things would be interesting if somebody knew how to convert it into layman-oriented teaching, that sort of thing. I think it's important.
Structural geology is going to be a second semester or third semester class. You need to understand your intro geology class. It's alongside geophysics. Like, you need to have a good foundation of what rocks are before you get into it. You're probably going to need to take maybe a petrology class, maybe a mineralogy class, because you're applying kind of complicated math, then algebra, matrices, to physical mediums and seeing the result. So, like, it's one of those things that I'd love to be able to explain in simple terms and have it just click, but it's kind of hard just to do that. Someone comes in here and says, let me explain quantum mechanics to you. They're not going to bring up numbers.
Right.
It's like getting an education by watching the Discovery Channel. You're only going to get so far.
So Chris Peacock just shared something. Let's take a look at that YouTube channel. It's about history of the
Andrew
Earth.
coming back soon? Because I do need to get going.
I don't know. Oh, he's back. He's quiet. He's like a ninja.
I sure that one about the piece of a dead planet.
Anyway, guys.
But I got to get going, Speed. So, Andrew, did you still have a question before I bounced? Or?
Yeah. So it was one last thing about tectonics. Basically, volcanoes were mentioned earlier, and I was wondering, like, do we have any current understand, or how good is our current understanding of mantle plumes and how they interact with the plates and sometimes drive their motions?
Mantle plumes are very exciting when it comes to not only volcanology, but also geomagnetism and study of mountain buildings or genetic events. Mainly because to my knowledge, and this is going back many years, things may have advanced a way I don't know, but to my knowledge, we couldn't necessarily track where mantle plumes come from. We could just see the results and say big differences in the magnetic field. Because the magnetic field is an omnipole. It's literally constantly changing all the time. And if you look at current magnetic maps, you're going to see like big blobs of north pointing magnetic field in the southern hemisphere. And you're like, and then it'll go away after a few weeks. And the argument is that's a mantle plume adjusting the convection currents inside the mantle, throwing things off. Maybe it's a piece of the continental crust falling into the mantle and not quite melted and throwing off those currents. I don't think anyone really knows, and it's kind of hard to read it, but it's still really cool to think that like chunks of continent are like breaking off from underneath us and floating down in this abyss of super hot, not liquid,
And would that include hot spots like under Hawaii as well? Do we understand?
A hot spot is a crack in the crust, not a mantle plume necessarily. I think I might be using the word differently than you mean, but like I'm talking a hot spot is a crack in the crust that magma is coming up out of, and as the crust like moves over that crack, it spouts out, right? I was talking about deep in the mantle when I was talking convection currents, not top of the mantle.
Okay. Yeah, I might have to look into it more, but
I might have misunderstood your question. Sorry. Like a mantle plume, a volcano, for example, those can commonly be fed by mantle plumes. You can see this on seismic readings, stuff like that.
Yeah,
because it's a liquid.
I was talking about plumes that, like, for instance, cause the Hawaiian islands to form.
Okay.
Upwellings from the mantle, basically. Like, do we understand those a little better?
Yeah, I thought you were talking about deep mantle stuff.
No, upper mantle.
Okay, so the mantle plumes pushing stuff around. Yes, that's 100% correct, right? Basically, all of geology works with crystal growth, ore deposits are just cracks forming in hard rock and some sort of liquid moving in there to take its place. Because all the liquid inside the earth wants to get out. Right. And a mantle plume essentially is an example of this, but with magma. So if you have some sort of shearing or some sort of cracking within the crust, magma is going to want to move up there, hence a hot spot such as Hawaiian Islands, or I think Yellowstone is also a gigantic hotspot.
Yeah, I think so.
And most volcanoes have a magma chamber, which you can kind of consider to be a plume that's right near the surface, about to pop like a pimple. And these very much drive plate motion, and they also very much drive metamorphic activity.
Okay.
So you can get a lot of near surface metamorphic activity. It's called, I think, magmatic metamorphism or something like that, where rocks are being altered very near surface due to that stuff. It's real cool stuff. Like there's books and books on just these topics, you know.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah, I don't know if that helped. I kind of went off topic. I apologize.
Yeah, no, that helped. I think I can see it's kind of complex, but I kind of just understand the basics right now. So.
Yeah, a lot of I will get going, so I'll say this last bit. A lot of geology works how you picture it. So if you're like trying to picture some crust and then picture some mantle coming up and popping through a little bit, that's the Hawaiian Islands. And then if you move that crust, the mantle's still going to be blooming up. That's how you're picturing it is probably actually how it happens.
Okay.
And that's why geology is better than biology, because you can't picture a lot of biology, but you can picture geology.
I'll agree on some of that.
There you go. All right, so I gotta go pick up my daughter. Thanks for having me on. Glad I could help.
Yep.
Well,
thanks
thanks
for
all your helpful information there.
All right.
Okay,
Thank
okay,
you,
boys and
Morgan.
girls. I have a problem. I have to reboot. So
Oh, good timing for me to leave. Take care.
yeah, can you guys handle? Can you handle content while I'm gone for about a minute or two? Okay.
I can try to. I can
Sure.
add some stuff.
Yeah, you have some sciencey stuff, don't you, Andrew?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
but
always
I don't
have
wanna-
fancy stuff.
I don't want to miss it.
All right.
okay,
Well,
so-
yeah.
Okay,
Let me
guys, I'm gonna head out and read. I'll be back in about 4 minutes, maybe, unless something else is wrong, because everything is going slow on me. Having a hell of a time.
Hey, Randolph, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
Have you made atheism normal yet?
Have Randolph come into the room.
Yeah,
He's
I'm
already in
here.
there.
I'm here. It's. I don't expect that it's going to happen fast. Although,
Why are you sitting down? Get
'cause
up, get out there. I'm just
I
messing
need to
with
get
you.
in here and help you guys create some content.
Yeah, create some content, man. Without content, we'll never be
We
normal.
definitely need all the help we can get.
I'm in
Normal
the same
people
boat,
have
man.
content.
I'm in the same boat.
Well, I was going to try to
I'm trying
pull
to
up
think.
that thing that Chris Peacock mentioned about a dead planet. So let's take a look here.
Oh,
You know, the planet that we collided with at some point in our history as a planet.
Is he
Oh, and
talking
then
about
the
the
moon-
Theia collision?
is that where the moon was formed right after that?
I'm thinking, but let's just see what it has. I have not seen this. I think it starts at a particular timestamp. And I'm going to share my screen and share screen and boom and boom. Do y'all
Hey.
see that? Good. So I'm taking
Yeah.
this.
Yeah, I thought that. Oh, I watch this
Uh-oh.
guy all the time. I like this
Oh,
guy.
I like this guy. He's great.
Yeah.
Okay, it didn't
Yeah,
save the.
I watch his stuff.
So basically, we have
Yeah.
these very mysterious, dense objects inside our planet whose origin is somewhat difficult to explain. But what is certain about them is that they've been around for a very long time. As I mentioned previously, that study that discovered those rocks in Iceland also discovered that these mantelpieces were extremely old, possibly even older than the moon itself. And if we find a piece that's older than the moon, it only suggests one thing. It most likely came from that mysterious Theia. At least that's the implication that the scientists whose paper you can find in a description make after a relatively thorough analysis. The main idea, of course, being the fact that after the moon was born, the chunks of Theia eventually stayed inside our planet and sunk to the bottom, forming these LSVPs. And the remnants of Theia are still there today, which of course would explain why we don't see Theia orbiting somewhere in the solar system and why we don't actually have any asteroids or any meteorites landing on the planet that might have been from Theia originally. And there's quite a lot of good evidence that the scientists do provide in this paper. So, for example, we know that if we were to combine the mass of LSVPs, which is about 2 to maybe 6% of mass of planet Earth, and add them to the mass of the moon, this does give us the average value for the prediction of the total mass of what Theia was probably like as well. At the same time, the predicted value for the density of Theia does actually come really, really close to the total value of density we discover inside of those LSVPs. The scientists today believe Theia was slightly denser, possibly about 2 to 3% denser than planet Earth. And so the explanation presented in the paper is that, well, once you combine Theia and the early Earth, you'll get these chunks of Theia stuck inside of the mantle of planet Earth, which will eventually solidify and form the regions that do resemble LSVPs that we find on the bottom of the mantle of our planet. And because denser material will eventually solidify and form the regions that do resemble LSVPs that we find on the bottom of the mantle of our planet.
That must be speed.
Yep. That was pretty good.
That is pretty cool.
Yeah.
So if you want more, the link is up in the side chat.
Yeah. I watch that guy all the time. He's got, what's good about his videos are they're short. They're just like 10, 15 minutes and, and it's very informative, certain subjects he does. He's pretty good.
He's awesome. Always just straight talking about all the science. No drama, no nonsense. It's just all science all the way through. I really like his series.
Yeah.
I've seen that video before. It's been a while, but that's a good one.
Yep.
It's so interesting.
In April, so
I missed it. What was it?
It's basically how the moon was formed.
It's a science video.
Well, that's just bullshit. Moon wasn't formed.
Also, the splinters, I guess, of it are under the mantle or whatever. I don't know what the right words are, but
if a big planet had hit the Earth would have cracked in half like a cracker.
Yep. You got to remember the cracker factor. That's called the cracker factor, right?
The cracker factor.
Yeah, that's it. You always got to take that into consideration because if it's not in the Bible, if it's not in the Bible speed, then it can't be true. So
right.
But they don't have crackers in the Bible, so there's a problem there.
Oh no.
Yeah, but they have them in church though, right? Don't they give them out the crackers?
Yes, they do. If you're a Protestant, or an evangelical, you've definitely seen crackers in church.
Yeah, go on, Cat. Get out of here.
See, you got the cracker factor in church. You got it. When the moon was formed, you got the cracker factor there.
I'm just crackers about cheese.
Uh-oh. No, what the hell? What's happening? Okay.
All right.
So, desires, David.
Yes, I was just about to mention that. I was just about to say, it was getting awful quiet. I want to talk about desires. Does anybody, am I crazy? I have this strong desire to have something huge happen in my lifetime. I'm starting to get on into my older years, right? You start thinking about, okay, how many years you got left? It's I don't know. For some reason, I have this desire for for some sort of big discovery.
Well, Answers in Atheism started a YouTube channel about a year ago.
Yeah.
Would it be prime to ask what year you were born, David?
1964.
Okay.
What a young punk.
So there was a human being landing on the moon.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There's been some great things. Yeah.
First woman up in space. First man up in space.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Maybe they may have been in space before 63, 64. But and then of course we landed Viking. Was it a Viking mission that landed on the surface of Mars that sent pictures?
Yeah,
I think so.
There's power. So what scale of discovery? What scale of epic event?
Well, I don't know.
Discovery of dark energy.
Yeah, something like that. like if they, well, but when you're talking about that kind of science takes years and years. They may discover something and they have to, really check the data and do experiments or however they do. And then those kind of things, like if you're actually trying to discover a new laws in physics or something like that, of course, even if they come up with some sort of a phenomenon, it would take a long period of time to actually, turn it into something, or for it to be announced as actually something, right? So it's not like those kind of things, but it's like, I don't know. Like I said, it's kind of, I feel like I have this desire for something big to happen like that. Like, let's say, for instance, like, you look at the microwave background, right? And that's one of the things that, we're trying to discover what happened previous to our universe, previous, go beyond the singularity, right? So I guess that the big thing that they're trying to study is the microwave background, right? They're looking at that, and that's really the only place that they can study to try to go beyond that, because that's where, prior to that, or it's the universe was opaque, right? You can't see through. So we're trying to see through. We're trying to develop technologies to go beyond that, right? We've already gotten back to what, a billionth of a second after the Big Bang or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, I don't know. I just those kind of things, like studying the universe, has always been a big interest for me. But so they're using the gravitational waves, right? That's kind of like the next thing that they're trying to develop, which could get us further, or it may reveal something in that area. But of course, our the machinery, or the machinery that they're using today it has to be so sensitive, because those waves are so difficult to detect,
Mm-hmm.
right? You have to get into a different wavelengths and all that. So they're looking at that. So, I don't know. I have this desire of, I want them to develop a friggin' gravitational wave machine, and look at the microwave background and say, holy shit, there's evidence of multiverses, or something like that, but something like that kind of stuff just doesn't happen overnight.
Right.
Or let's say, I mean, don't get me wrong, I don't believe in Bigfoot, but could you imagine if somebody found Bigfoot or something? I'm talking about like something like one day you wake up and something like that happened. Like, you know what I mean? Something huge. I don't know. I seem to have that desire for something. Or like, now, for instance, the other thing we talked about one time was, now they're sending up that new telescope, the James Webb telescope.
Yes.
And they'll be able to look at, they're going to hopefully be able to look at atmospheres on some of these exoplanets. And, I'm hoping that will say that, maybe in 5 or 10 years from now, they're going to look at at these planets and say, hey, this one here, this has got all the right chemicals in the atmosphere and all that. There's a strong possibility there's life there. Something like that, So that was what I was trying to talk about.
Did you say 64?
Yes, 64. Yep.
Wasn't the CMD discovered that same year, or was it 65?
Yeah.
I can't remember.
Yeah, it was. I'd have to look that up. It was right around that time. Yeah, it was like 64, 65, 66, right in that area. Yep.
We lose Randolph.
Yeah, he's dropping out, and changing his avatar too. So, what was the last big thing that you remember or felt, that impressed you so much, David?
Jesus,
sequencing the genome.
I don't know.
That was another big one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hell, getting genetic, getting DNA samples.
Yeah,
from
the DNA stuff as that progressed, that was a big thing in my lifetime, of course. Yeah, all the big studies on that. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Were you saying something, David?
No, go ahead. Good.
Well, I was just gonna say there are 2 comments in the chat right now that are triggering me.
Which ones? Exoplanets?
Yeah, exoplanets and Ox. I don't know if he's being sarcastic or not.
Ox says there was a big no bang. No, there was a no big bang. I don't know. I think it was a big expansion, is what it was.
It was the everywhere stretch.
The everywhere stretch, yeah.
I like that description best from Minute Physics.
Yeah.
Yeah, whenever the creationists say it's an explosion, that's when you go, oh boy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it came
boy,
from nothing. It came from nothing.
Yeah.
you know?
Yes,
The explosion
that
that
too.
came from nothing. That's when you do the face palm and you go, oh boy, here we go.
We barely understand the actual structure of the thing that we got, the universe, right? And outside of that, the cosmos, whatever that thing, and you can't even say it's embedded in something because there's even weirder than that. There's no before, there's no after, there's no this is inside of this thing. The geometry of the cosmos is so weird that you're much more likely to completely understand quantum mechanics than you are to get your head around even the basic geometry. And the other thing, like fine tuning, okay, we don't know that it isn't absolutely necessary for all of those different parameters to be exactly the way they are, and for it all to be coming from one unified theory that would tell you what each of those little measurements are, and that is a necessary thing. And so when any of these guys start talking about this crap, it's never going to go anywhere because they're never going to stretch their little tiny minds around what the geometry of the universe is really like. Am I being condescending, Richard? Randolph? Did you?
I think it's there. I remember Richard Carrier a while ago talking about some of this, and it was he was saying that with the idea of the fine tuning argument, he completely obliterated it, of course, but he was saying like even if like I think he was pointing out there's different strengths of gravity on different planets and different things all over the place.
That's the other thing.
Yeah. So, and he said if it was different, there's something like water friction between all the molecules, and that's still between all the electrons and protons and neutrons, that would still maintain things even if it was changed. I think he was talking something about that. Maybe I've misunderstood him, but it sounded very convincing. He's a good speaker.
Yeah, and it isn't. I mean, there's a little bit of fluff in each of those fine-tuning measurements where it would still work.
Yeah.
What you need for life and the universe as we know it is carbon, basically that periodic chart. So you need quantum mechanics to basically flesh out the way it does. Yeah. And then you need carbon. Carbon's the most important element that we have, and it just turns out to be exactly the right size and have exactly the right connections to create complexity. And that's why we have life.
And a compelling perspective to me is that we look at evolution and things develop, and they happen to be capable of adapting to the environment and surviving. Just if these universal constants were to change, who's to say that evolution would not still function the same and life could still come about? I'm not in abiogenesis, but I mean evolution, how it could change and still be adapting to the environment. We'd be like, I remember there's a science fiction TV show back in the 80s or maybe 90s. There's another alien species. They couldn't drink salt water, and they had stronger bones and stronger muscles because they had higher gravity on their planet. I think it's quite compelling to say that. And we look at Mars. There's I think bacteria was discovered not too long ago at the polar caps. And so there's still possibility, right? So, yeah.
I have a off-topic question for you, or well, sort of off-topic question for you guys. How do you feel about the statement that okay, first, you everyone here knows what the term epicycle means, right?
I'm not versed in that area, but I'll try.
So in this context, it basically means like a fudge factor to make the theory work, despite observations.
Okay.
How do you guys feel about the statement that dark matter is such a fudge factor?
Well, epicycles
Yeah.
were actually basically calculations they had to put the fudge factors in because they were assuming way back when circular orbits of all the planets. That since it wouldn't work all the time, obviously they would create these epicycles, just hard coded, not hard coded, but just reasons to put in constants or whatever that would account for them. But as far as dark matter, I don't know that. I've not heard an argument.
Well, if you want to call it a fudge factor, I don't think. I mean, it's basically we discovered it, okay, and something is missing in our grand unified theory, and they observed something and they didn't try to hide it. I mean, why didn't they try to hide it if there's a conspiracy? They didn't try to hide it. They said we got a problem, and dark matter is creating all sorts of new thinking in a number of different areas. New thinking about whether or not. I don't think it's actually dark matter. I think something else is going on that we're going to discover. But it's like we don't fucking know about that stuff. We are little tiny bits of goo on a little tiny speck of dust floating around in the middle of this universe that you can't even get your mind around how big it is inside of a cosmos that God knows is most likely infinite. How in the fuck are we expected to know everything after 100 years of science?
There's I actually came across something from the Sloan Research Center. They've looked at from a very far kind of perspective what is going on, and they see we've got our galaxies, then there's clusters of galaxies, then there's super clusters of these clusters of galaxies, and then they got all the way up to filaments of which are just and super filaments of all these. They kind of resemble a sponge. All these galaxy superclusters together, and each dot of filament that makes up a whole arm of the filament has got it represents a galaxy supercluster or a number of them together. It's just so vast and massive,
and it's all held together by dark matter.
Yeah, and so for the dark matter, what do you guys think of the possibility of it being a kind of force, like comparable to something like gravity or something else?
Well, there is some there are alternative models to general relativity called modified Newtonian dynamics, or MOND, but I don't know how widely accepted it is compared to the standard dark matter picture.
Well, okay. So dark matter, first of all, let me try and clear up the thing. The evidence for dark matter is it's reasonably strong in that there's a place called the Bullet cluster where two galaxy clusters have passed through each other, and it appears that the center of mass of the galaxy is different from where you would expect it if the gas was passing through each other. So it seems that there is a force which is distorting the center of gravity of the different galaxies based upon some kind of friction between the galaxies. And that friction they put down to dark matter or a gravitational field of some sort.
And now they're talking about variable gravity and a bunch of other things. The thing is, we may not, there's a lot about gravity doesn't fit all that well in physics and hasn't. And there's a lot of things that we don't know about gravity. And there's a grand unification theory that it might be right around the corner that is going to cover all this. So dark matter was our first indication that now we have something empirical that we could study to help us figure out what that grand unifying theory is, right?
I would say no to that. There's been several grand unifying theories, most of which, or the most recent is quantum loop gravity and M theory, which is a form of string theory. But the problem with both of those is that at the moment they're unfalsifiable. So that's the issue, is we have grand unifying theories, they're just not testable. at the moment, and that's a problem. And the things we can test, such as general relativity and quantum mechanics, have both been tested to many decimal places.
Well, any theory that comes along and explains dark matter and explains gravity and integrates it with everything else is going to be that theory, that grand unifying theory that is testable.
Well, okay. I mean, the problem. Okay. Again, I have slightly different views on this. That the grand unifying theory in history is potentially trying to reconcile quantum mechanics with general relativity, which are our two best tested theories. And because they don't fit together, then that's basically where people have been saying if we manage to rectify those two things, we'd have a theory of everything. And at the moment, as I say, there are candidates for that, but they're not at the moment testable. The last situation with, the last prediction from Einstein's relativity, general relativity, is of course gravitational waves, which have now been shown. So the next step really is in the unknown, and that's why I think.
But if theory X predicts dark matter and dark energy, then we've got something testable.
Well, dark energy
could
be included in general relativity. It was kind of included originally and then excluded for various philosophical reasons.
Right. So that was a cosmological constant, right?
That's right. Yeah.
The cosmological constant is basically dark matter, right? Yeah.
It's a possible candidate. It's a possible candidate.
So does anybody know who this guy is? Jonathan Losos? He's on. Who's he?
No, I recognize the face.
He's an evolutionary biologist. I think he works on specific kind of lizard called anoles, I believe.
Okay.
Amphibians.
He's a herpetologist also. But Jonathan Guzman has him on his channel right now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And sorry, the reason I came in was to answer one question, which of course was, what's the last thing in physics? Which was, for me, was the Higgs boson. That was the last big discovery. And before that was dark energy.
that was yeah.
The thing is, it was weird because the Higgs boson, it didn't wow me as much as I thought it would. So
that's understandable.
I heard about it so much, it just didn't wow, and plus it was kind of abstract.
Yeah, I mean, because
that's just basically like a field, right? Like it's like a field, and that when the particles pass through that basically gives them mass or no mass, right? Isn't that how that works? Am I right on that?
It's a little more complex than that. When you talk about giving particles mass, you're talking about subatomic particles. Yeah, and it explains why subatomic particles have particular masses, the electrons, say, for instance, and why photons are massless. So that's the kind of level you're working at, but it doesn't explain. It's not meant to explain why atoms have mass, for instance, or nuclei have mass. That's not the purpose of it. But again, it's the Higgs field. I'm not surprised it's not a wow. It's because it's been included as a necessary part of the standard model for quite some time, because people have realized, right, that if the standard model is true, then the Higgs field must exist. Obviously, the problem is that no one's been able to build a machine to test it until the billions that were spent at the LHC.
So, Scott, why did Benghazi say that?
Well, because you said test, and then I went test. Nobody said it was going to be a test, and then he said prostate test.
Anyway. Damn.
Yeah, I haven't followed Guzman at all. He's still. I see somebody writing. He's struggling between science and faith. He's still a young kid, right? Isn't he like 17 years old still?
I was talking to him the other night, and he said that he can't reconcile scripture to evolution, but yet he keeps leaning toward it. And I asked him, why he couldn't just take a agnostic attitude toward what really happened in the Bible, the creation and all that. Because if you take an agnostic attitude, and that's what they prescribe. They say, okay, faith, basically have strong faith without belief. You don't necessarily without belief. Have a strong faith in God, and just leave it there, and then go with science, for Christ's sake. And it solves.
Right, yeah.
And I think that's what most really solid Christians do. Is they just have this strong faith that they feel and they experience. But they don't need to know all the details of the resurrection or the creation or any of that stuff. They just accept their faith, right?
Yeah.
So why not be agnostic toward the Bible and how the Bible works out, and accept science for what it is? Because the Bible, we don't have a lot of info about what they all really meant, right?
Yeah, I mean, it seems to me that they're quite happy. Most of the people that do science and are into scripture, they're quite happy understanding that when Jesus talks about the Good Samaritan, it's metaphorical in some ways, or when Paul says, not Greek nor Jew nor that, and they're quite happy using that as a metaphorical statement for everybody else or everybody in the world. And yet they want to stick to some things being literal. Well, why? Why would you do that? If you got, what do you mean you can't reconcile scripture? You can always reconcile scripture because the whole thing could be metaphorical.
Yeah. But there's something that Jesus said about Genesis that they're hung up on is the best of my understanding, and I don't understand shit about Christianity, but I've heard him talk on Praise's channel. There's something that Jesus said that indicates that if Genesis isn't true, then everything falls apart according to them. What is that? Does anybody know any more about that?
Well, no, it's their refusal to take it metaphorically rather than literal. They want some kind of literal meaning. Otherwise, how can you rely on the word in the Bible as being the truth of God's creation?
You know what I think the biggest problem with fundamentalists and creationists is? They don't really have faith. They don't have strong faith. If they had strong faith, none of this would be a problem for them. All they have to have is faith without belief, and they would be fine.
Yeah. Would that equivocate with like weak-mindedness, kind of?
I thought the Beatles said all you need was love.
No, faith is more of a feeling or an experiential thing, right? And you don't necessarily have to believe in anything to have just faith. You don't have to have faith in something particular. You can just have faith. Trust me, I do.
I brought it up with a couple of them. I think it might have been Joel, actually, about Thomas, right? About Thomas's vision of Jesus or after resurrection experience with Jesus. And it seems to me that this is what most of them really don't like. They don't like that Thomas was allowed to have this understanding of Jesus by touching him in the side. And yet it's said that if you accept Jesus without touching him in the side, metaphorically speaking, you are more blessed. Right? So it's almost as if they don't want to accept that they're blessed. It's almost like they have a doubt in them and they feel really guilty.
Well, right? Which book did make it into the New Testament? Was that Thomas?
Well, the Gospel of Thomas, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So this Catholic priest, when I was like 21 years old or 24, this Catholic priest told me, when I talked to him about Buddhism and that kind of faith, he told me he said, you have to read this book, the Gospel of Thomas, I think it was.
Okay.
And I never did. I probably should have. But anyway, he was trying to tell me. And when I was talking to this guy, he sounded like an atheist. He didn't believe in miracles, and he was a Catholic priest, and he was like a really old Catholic priest.
Yeah.
And he didn't believe in any of that stuff, but he had this deep faith. It was really weird. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's what that passage is for. Right? More blessed are those that believe and don't have evidence. So if you don't have evidence and you still believe, allegedly, you're more blessed.
Yeah, but like, what do you have to believe? You see, I think belief and faith are opposites, on my view. Totally the
Right.
opposite. So it isn't belief without evidence. That isn't faith. Faith is an experience without belief. You don't have to believe in any particular scripture or anything. You just have this experience of being, and you have this deep experience of being and being connected, and that is faith. Connected to what? You don't know. If you have to have a what, then you don't fucking have faith.
Yeah, I don't see it that way myself. I think belief is.
Well, think about it.
Well, I have, obviously.
Okay, what are you?
I'm an atheist.
No. What else? Like in general, what are you?
Oh, I'm a humanist.
No, not what you believe or what you think or what your ideals are. I'm talking about what are you?
I don't understand the question if I've answered it twice. I mean, I'm a human being.
What kind of a thing are you?
I'm an ape, an animal.
Yep. You're an animal, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you have
an ugly bag of mostly water.
And you have feelings. And in fact, 90% of 99% of what goes on in your brain is about feelings, not about rationality and thinking, right? So faith is without thinking, and you can do that. You can just be an animal.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that that's the case myself. I don't think you can. I don't think humans can just be animals and switch off their higher cognition. I think
do it all the time.
Well, I think okay, right.
Speed.
I don't see how you can do it. Right, I don't think you can disengage. I don't think you can disengage that.
Well, if you're in a karate match, okay, you ever been in a taekwondo match or anything like that?
Yeah,
you're not rationalizing, huh? You're not thinking. Okay.
Well, again, I it's, when we say thinking here, I mean, maybe you're just, maybe we're just equivocating over the word. Okay, maybe I am, or maybe you are. I don't know. But I think if we're going to talk about not having the higher cognition, right? What I mean is, basically devolving the chemical system so we just react. Right? If it's anything more than that. Okay, so things like breathing, for instance, we're not conscious of breathing.
I am now.
Right, well, tell me about it.
Damn you.
we're not conscious of breathing necessarily so, and yet maybe is that because that's just learned and it is still higher cognition doing it, or is it because that's part of our animal reaction system?
Maybe most certainly isn't cognition doing it.
Yeah, I mean, it couldn't be. Well, in some sense, it can be, right? Because we can hold our breath.
Oh, yeah.
So we have higher order control of it. So
yeah, you can interfere with it. But you don't make it happen. If you did, you'd be fucked if you went to sleep.
Yeah. Well, unless we're still using our brains when our higher order cognition when we're asleep, which is also possible. And again, we're just going to be equivocating here because when I think of higher order brains, I'm thinking of mammals, right? So,
Peter, did I get an email from you?
Speaking of higher ordered brains, here's Peter.
You got an email from me.
I did?
Yeah.
Let me just check because I rebooted it and it changed everything. No, I didn't get an email from you. I just you said, okay, I'll send you a link tomorrow.
Yeah. I sent you that in email. So you got an email.
But you never sent a link.
No, because it's not 5 p.m. Central yet.
Okay, but if it's 5 p.m., that's when I'm supposed to be on the link. Boy. You make promises, Peter.
I said, okay, but is it still tomorrow?
What? Okay, it's Tuesday, right?
Yeah, going off of when I sent the email, is it still tomorrow?
When you sent the email, I don't know. That's a deep question.
Yeah, that was yesterday. So considering that was yesterday, today is tomorrow. I know it's
What do
a weird
what do you
concept
mean-
called time.
What do you mean by yesterday?
The day before, the day that is.
I don't understand that.
I need to have a word with all of you. I mean, David, talking about
What?
stuff.
What?
I mean, weren't you present in 2017? I mean,
What happened in 2007?
You-
What did I miss?
you-
I was probably
you want-
sleeping.
You got the book.
you talked about big events. In 2017, the single most important president took office in the United States and
Oh,
put
yeah,
the United
yeah.
States on the map. So
Yeah.
as the entire world now knows that there is a country called the United States and where it's
Yeah.
at.
Yeah, I can't.
I mean,
I can't
if
argue with
that-
that, Peter. I definitely
If
can't.
I mean, if that's not a big event, I can point you to a stream that happened yesterday, where two very distinguished scientists had a conversations about recent events that happened over the weekend. And I can tell you that Italian scientists are currently working on what will probably one of the biggest discoveries, at least of this year, and that is why Max's tire blew when he was on a winning streak and was going to win the Baku Grand Prix.
Oh,
That's a fact.
yeah.
Simons will tell you the case.
Yeah.
Even dogs agree.
Hey, how about that virus that killed millions of us?
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know.
Careful what you wish for.
Maybe I don't know. My life's not exciting enough, I guess. I don't know. I just want something really exciting to happen.
Keep your eyes and ears open, David. Something amazing will happen.
I know.
I think the problem is, David, that so much exciting shit happens that it's
get
no
too used
longer that exciting. You get used to it.
I know. That's what I mean. That's why it has to be like really big, like something like totally amazing. I don't know.
Get a butter knife and stick it in a socket. I guarantee you.
I've done that before.
It will get your attention.
Yeah.
I've got a better way. Try to strip a wire with your teeth while it's plugged in.
Yeah.
That's one you'll never forget.
Well, I'm in that type of field. I've done lots of that kind of stuff and lots of wiring. So I've done wiring when it's live many times. And
I'll be honest with you, David. You've already kind of said it, which is the James Webb Telescope, and that's the next big one.
Yeah. I can't wait for that. I'm hoping that they'll actually look at the atmospheres and say, "Holy shit!" And there could be something there. You know, I don't know. I would love to know myself. I believe there's life out there. You know, there just has to be. But whether or not we're going to be able to actually discover that in my lifetime, you know, probably the best I can hope for in my lifetime would be we're going to look at exoplanets and say, there's a strong possibility, and that's probably the best I can hope for.
I'm not convinced there's life out there, but I believe it. You know, because I really want there to be other life in the universe.
Yeah,
that we can meet and communicate with. Yeah,
right. What you wish for.
I think it's probably the universe is so damn big that we, you know, at least in my lifetime, we may never discover it. So, unfortunately, that could be the case. But I would love to find the answer to that.
That's why we have science fiction to at least appease us a little bit.
Yeah.
Speaking of life, speed.
What?
I had another science topic to share, if you don't mind.
Good. I don't.
Okay. Do you mind if I share my screen?
Oh, great.
No, I don't care if you share your screen.
Learn more stuff. It's awesome.
But there's a screen on there.
By the way, hello, Peter.
Oh, shit. Did I remove you instead of me? I did. God damn it. I think I removed your screen. I think you have to reshare it. I was trying to remove mine and I removed yours.
David,
try again.
Days, Andrew is going to show you something amazing on this screen that will make you glad that you're in science.
Yeah, that could be. That could be.
I can't see anything from my screen. What happened?
You're not sharing it.
You need to share it again.
I thought I missed something there. Okay.
No, it got knocked out by mistake. You'll have to share it again.
Oh, okay. Behold, what I think might be my favorite animal, or at least for the time being.
Ooh, what is it called?
What is
Is
that?
it a bunny?
No, it's called a Placazoan.
Placazoan. Do you have a link to that Placazoan?
Looks like something I've seen.
Here,
in
I
the
can
original
put in the
Smurf
private
series.
chat.
Is that like a cross between a protozoan and a bacteria or something?
No, it's an animal.
Oh, see, I don't know any of these long Latin words when you're talking about one-celled, or
Yeah.
it may not be one-celled. I don't know. I'm just going to be quiet because I don't know anything about this stuff.
Okay.
Inverts.
So characteristics, they have no bilateral or radial symmetry, just like sponges. No tissues or organs. No nervous system. No digestive or body cavities. They're shaped like little pancakes made of 2 layers of cells, and I believe they have at maximum only like a handful of cell types, like up to 6.
Wow.
They live in rainwater. So like that's in comparison, we have like 200 cell types, I believe, and these guys only have like 4 or 6. So they're arguably, yeah, it says here, they're arguably one of the simplest types of phylums of animals known to science, and we only know 3 species currently, I believe. So yeah, they're pretty interesting.
I put that link in my description. And
Oh.
go down below to the diagrammic representation of the placozoan cell structure.
Oh, yeah, here we go.
Tiny sphere cell, lipophil cell, fiber cell, gland cells. Oh my God, what is this thing? This is exciting. David, there you go. There's your discovery.
And I think I think I watched the video, and I can't confirm this to be sure, but apparently they're also maybe venomous because of these shiny sphere cells. So that's why when snails touch them, for instance, they kind of flinch a little bit.
Wow.
Which I thought was interesting.
They had something like this on Star Trek. I put a link in the private chat. I'm serious. It looks almost like this.
Huh? What? Oh, are you sharing? Should I stop sharing?
Oh, yeah. They showed it on Star Trek, the immunity syndrome. Tell Dr. McCoy he should have wished me luck.
It looks so similar. Reminds me of that.
Yes, the giant amoeba episode. Okay.
This is interesting.
And they also mainly reproduce asexually. So we know they can reproduce sexually, but they mostly bud off one another or undergo binary fission. Oh yeah, and did I mention that they only have up to a few thousand cells that compose them?
Wait a minute. The ones that reproduce asexually, are they atheists? Or sexually?
You will find
they're just
atheist ones are the ones that sexually reproduce, because they're all about sin.
Reproduction
and
can be
free
asexual.
species.
You're the free
species, but they're not married. Okay.
Okay, so they have eggs and sperm. So where the hell is that cell type? This is a very interesting little animal.
Yeah, it's so simple morphologically, in fact, that we're not really sure where because they're their own little phylum, so we're not really sure where they fall in the metazoan tree of life. Like, there are some hypotheses that they're actually basal to all other animals, but I think most find them somewhere between, or not between, somewhere basal to eumetazoans, so which contain cnidarians and bilaterians and stuff like that. So after sponges, but before all other animals, I think is, but I'm not sure. I think there's still some controversy, which is fascinating.
So how big is their genome?
I believe, from what I remember, it's I saw something about only like 11,000 protein coding genes. I think it did say it was the smallest animal genome, I believe.
Okay.
So
I'm trying to find. I found an article on their comparative genomics, but I have not found their genome size.
Yeah, what do you guys think?
Me and you're the only ones excited about this shit.
I guess so.
I'm a little distracted by what's going on in the side chat.
Wow.
The freak said, "You think you're a deep thinker? You can't go deeper than God." I see. Yeah. That is not how you spell thinker. You can't think deeper than believing in God. That's probably what you meant, but that's not spelled with a TH. That's spelled with an S.
You can go deeper if God is inside you.
That's Depper. That's not deeper.
It's definitely
you
not.
Can't go Depper.
You can't go deeper than God. Oh no, he's corrected himself. Beg your pardon, Freak.
Yeah. Wait a minute. Is Freak a Christian?
Yeah. No. Well.
No idea.
Come on in, Freak.
So he's a Christian who likes to defend Allah.
Oh.
What?
Nice.
Okay.
Nice.
The Freak, come in and defend your position on why dark matter doesn't exist, or whatever you said.
Wait a minute. He's a Christian. Did you just say he's a Christian that defends Allah?
Yeah, that's why he joined on Raw stream to defend
There's a
Allah.
polytheist.
So I think the appropriate word for when that happened was inebriated.
Okay.
Under the
That
influence
explains it.
would be a more simplistic.
That would explain that, I guess.
Hold on, you think you're a deep thinker? You can't go deeper than God?
Oh wait,
it's just
Muhammad was a born again.
I know. I was just messing with him about the typo.
Now we got the thing with no name in the chat. Now it's ruined.
Wow, Peter, really?
Mohammed was a born again Christian. Oh my goodness, how deluded.
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go.
Star Trek, the immunity syndrome. Ooh.
The Star Trek version.
So I'm curious, the Freak. How many birthdays do you have if you're born again? Do you celebrate the first birth or the second one or both? And what did your mom think about the second one?
Holy shit!
Must have been pretty painful.
I just noticed the Star Trek spaceship-y thingy, whatever that's called. What's that called?
Enterprise.
The Enterprise.
That's a big fucking Placazoan.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Star Trek.
It's a space Placazoan.
Maybe that space Placazoan's bigger than God.
It could be.
Maybe.
Wait, are we really sure this is a Placazoan? Because it looks like just a big cell.
I don't know.
Yeah,
the Placazoan.
The science you
Amoeba.
just showed reminded me of this episode. That's why I shared the link.
It comes to mind.
Thank you. We do the science stuff here. We do all the science stuff.
I'm a human doctor, Jim. I'm not a biologist.
I'm a doctor, not an elevator. Or not an escalator. Spock, give me a hand.
What?
It's interesting that everyone is more interested in this than the science I shared. I'm sad.
I know.
I'm more interested in the science.
So sad right now, Andrew. Me too. I'm so fucking sad for
Wait,
this
what
girl.
site you shared? Let me see.
The
About
science is more
goats, the paper
interesting.
behind the article, Dr. Crackers on SFT, and Placazoans. What?
Hold on. I can put the link in the private chat again. There we go.
Do that. It's never going to hurt, is it? I feel the same about physics, Andrew. If it's any consolation.
I put it in the description. Anyway, Simos, I got a job. I have a project for you.
Okay, great.
Okay. Get about maybe 12 feet from a table.
Yeah.
Pick up a book.
Mm-hmm.
And then walk across and put the book on the table. But don't put the book on the table until you get to the table in your mind.
So Speed, are you talking about the periodic table?
Nope.
Oh, okay, I've done that. I've done that.
It seems that we have that according to the periodic table. I've never heard of that.
Periodic table.
Well,
Yeah,
I mean,
periodic.
hey, you know what?
It's another typo.
I know it's a typo, but it's fun making, it's fun taking shots at people that do that.
Yes. Okay.
Well, come on in here,
You're a
freak, and tell us what.
So do you want to get to the end of this, Pete? So I put the book on the table in my mind, right?
He will
not in your mind.
Jesus Christ.
Simon,
I want to see that happen.
Simus, did you put the book on a pterodactyl table?
I have no idea what a pterodactyl table is, to be fair.
Table made
not
of
even
A pterodactyl table?
I'm not even sure. I think it's a word, but anyway, maybe it is.
What is even going on in this stream?
Pterodactyl table.
I was thinking the same thing, Midnight. I was thinking the same thing. So you're not alone there, buddy.
That's your job, Tyler.
Okay. Was there any point to what you were speaking?
Get back to me when you learn how to do it. But you can't do anything about the book in your mind until you get to the table and put the book on the table. So your job is to put the book on the table without thinking about putting books on tables or books or walking or anything.
Pete, you're literally not making any sense. You're confusing
it
everybody.
kind of is.
Oh, you guys. Okay, guys, when I'm not making any sense, you know what that means?
Sense to me.
Oh.
But anyway.
You don't understand me.
Well, what does he try to say anyway?
Well, we were having a talk about higher order consciousness earlier, so I am assuming it's to do with that.
Neuroscience.
Has to do with that.
Yay, neuroscience! I love neuroscience. Woo!
That's your job. Okay, you can't think about your brain while you're thinking.
I mean, you can think about your brain while you're thinking.
Well, you shouldn't.
Or you can't. Hang on a minute.
Everybody, quickly. Don't think of a white horse.
If you're thinking about your brain, you are definitely thinking.
What is even?
Philosophically, that's a given.
Well,
that's a must.
Yeah.
Well, don't do
anyway. I wouldn't do that. No.
I'd love to see what happens. I'd love to see that happen. The freak, since you're not man enough to join, you probably won't. The neuroscience of religion is where it's at.
Some people in the chat think that neuroscientists are going to discover God in the brain.
I mean, they have already. Yeah. That's where God comes from. The brain. We create God.
Great. Yeah. He also said he has zero charisma. I would add to that zero intelligence also.
Boy, he's going to suck at D&D.
No, zero intelligence. Yeah,
I found out.
Don't worry about charisma; it's overrated.
I found out today that one of my cats is a Muslim. This one.
What the
and
fuck?
The other one's a creationist.
How? Like, can you make your screen
But neither
bigger?
of them is a Muslim creationist.
Huh?
I thought Muslim was against cats. Oh no, he's for cats, but against dogs or some shit.
Oh, that looks like the creationist right there. That has to be the creationist.
No, it's a Muslim. He's a Muslim kitty.
That's the Muslim.
Very sensible. I think Mohammed refused to move or something because a cat was laying on his sleeve or something like that.
He's staring at whatever. There you go, Thor. It's getting you. It's gonna get you. The vacuum cleaner. All right. The vacuum cleaner.
Why do cats always look like they've got the devil in them when I look at them? It looks like they're about to attack.
Because they do.
The vacuum cleaner came out today and almost got them.
Yeah.
It was horrible. Yeah.
Speed, your cat looks very content.
Yeah. This is Thor. He's a good kitty. But,
Speed.
Yeah. Another science topic? You gonna try again?
I posted a video in the private chat if you want to put it in the description, but I don't know if it's gonna get copyright, but like I got from a website and it shows a time lapse of sponge cells being torn apart and then reforming themselves.
Now, if only human cells could do that.
Yeah. I mean, not even plants can do that.
It would be very boring when you had a drink, wouldn't it?
Well, I mean, more if you had your arm cut off, it'll just regrow. That'd be
No,
good.
it doesn't. It doesn't regrow. It reassembles in a sponge.
Well, okay, fair enough. Having your body reassemble itself, that would be better.
Hmm.
Well,
Yeah.
there's a species that can regenerate, the axolotl.
Axolotl, yeah.
Axolotl, thank you. Yeah.
Show that about 30 seconds in. It spends a lot of time pre. Well, or you can just watch.
Oh,
there we go.
I didn't know that.
20
Sorry.
seconds. 3 seconds. Yeah.
Zoom it up.
They can continuously reinvent themselves, performing some truly miraculous feats.
Oh, I hate it when they say things like that.
Is that
Why?
Peter Coyote narrating?
Sponge is passed through a sieve. Its cells are separated, but somehow the cells still recognize each other.
No, they don't recognize each other because they'd have to have intentions to recognize each other.
I agree with you, Simus.
I missed.
No other
Oh,
planet
bullshit, Simon.
itself this way.
Okay.
Very interesting.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'd love to watch.
The fun thing about this is the fun thing about this is if you were to put 3 sponges in the blender, they will reassemble as the same separate sponges.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Have to actually tried that?
Yep.
Yeah.
As the
Yeah,
same.
Yeah.
Meaning they'll get back together the way they were before they came apart.
Yes.
I mean,
How
I'll
do they-
say this for the show, SpongeBob. At least it's accurate when SpongeBob does that.
So that means they have some sort of coding recognition coding.
I
And
guess
they
so.
would be different. So
Yeah.
Now that you brought that up, Speed, I made a promise yesterday that I said that I would, every weather report, I would bring up little Pee-Pee for some way, somehow. So he doesn't get
yeah.
upset.
bring them up.
I made that promise yesterday. So we need to discuss little Pee-Pee and his intelligent designer.
No. We need to discuss the fact that that his salvation might not have happened. That is probably questionable, and he's not.
Yes.
Because
No.
I know for a fact that is the one single argument that will enrage him the most. He's
Oh,
not
yeah.
safe.
Yeah.
No. I have something else about our friend Little Peepee. Okay, he's moving somewhere, right? And he has to be out by today. He said this on Praise's stream. Now he bought a big truck, and he showed a picture of the inside of his big truck, and he's like building plywood things in it. And he had a friend who cut a whole bunch of boards for him, and then his friend disappeared off the face of the earth. Probably a crackhead. You know, crackheads do that. Anyway, so he couldn't build his truck because he needed a truck in order to move. And my question is, why didn't he just call U-Haul and rent a fucking truck? Why do you have to buy a truck, rebuild the truck, and then move with the truck? Now this is
Two-word speed. Tiny house.
maybe he's moving into the truck.
I mean,
Yeah.
how tiny? Because my apartment is 650 square inches.
No, so hold
40
on.
feet.
So are you aware that there is someone in our community living in a tiny house?
I heard that.
Yeah,
Isn't he a flat earther?
No.
Yeah.
She is the sister of Richard Madsen.
Lives in a tiny house?
She's called B. She's an atheist and has her own channel, and she lives in a tiny house.
She's really nice.
Yeah.
How tiny?
It's a trailer that she
Wow.
hooks onto a truck,
Oh,
and
so
she built it herself.
it's bigger than a
Okay.
closet, then, is it?
It's fairly bigger than let's say McRae's apartment.
All right, back to little Pee-Pee now. We got to get back
Okay,
to
yeah,
little Pee-Pee.
that would be charitable to think that he's moving into the truck. Okay, I think it's worse than that. I think somehow he thinks he had to buy a truck, rebuild the truck on the inside for some reason, and then put all his stuff in the truck to move his house.
Yeah.
And he probably doesn't understand that you can rent trucks from U-Haul. I don't know.
And isn't he supposedly moving to Florida, right? He lives in Tennessee, we know that. And he's
Yeah.
isn't he supposed to be moving to Florida? So, I mean, wouldn't you either hire a moving company, or like you said, get a big truck. I mean, you got to move. That's a long ways to go to move.
U-Haul cost you about $300, total.
Yeah.
Buying a truck's got to cost you a fuck of a lot more. So anyway,
it cost me more than that because I had to pay for my son's move. My son was in the military. He got out of the damn military, and I had to pay for it all for him to move back home. And it cost me, I think, about $1,600. It cost me.
Yeah, because they loaded your truck, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm talking about just renting a U-Haul, doing your own work. That's what. Yeah, let's say it's been 20 years since I moved, so 21 years actually. So I don't.
David, you know why he's moved to Florida, right?
No, I don't.
To be closer to a mutable destiny.
No. So Florida is the state where all the retired people go once they've retired. So Florida is basically an entire state of old people.
Yep.
And the way John Maddox talks is quite slow. So that would be the only state where people aren't questioning his way of talking, and they would understand him perfectly.
Yeah, he's going to be a grifter. He's going to be a grifter. He's going to go down there and.
Well, he's going to study chemistry. He's going to study reductionism and connotation in chemistry.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
He definitely needs a lot of studying, but not probably just in chemistry. I think in a lot of things.
Yep. Well, I think it's mainly chemistry that's causing him to think that he can do that.
Yeah.
I have to put
in other words. But do they still have KOA in America? Campsite of America?
KOA?
Yeah.
Kentucky.
No.
I'm sorry. Chicken?
Campsite of America.
Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, I think
I grew up with those all around in
they do. Okay.
where I lived, and I recall seeing them when I traveled, so I think so.
Are you waving at me?
I think you're saying hello to Atheist Junior.
He's waving at me, Atheist Junior, without interrupting conversation. Now it's all interrupted.
What are you eating,
I just wanted to ask Peter something. Peter, are you suggesting
popsicle?
Is that a hot dog?
Are you suggesting that LPP? I mean, are you serious? Are you suggesting that? I forgot my question. Sorry. Go ahead.
Well, you're just a young
in any other context
whippersnapper who thinks that he's funny with that tiny channel that you have, and you can't debate for shit. I mean,
oh no,
you're just a joke.
LPP should not be calling something of mine tiny.
Let's check on Maddox's channel and see what he hasn't had anything new for 4 days. What's going on? Oh, he's moving.
Wait. He has ever had something new?
Yeah.
Jesus.
I mean, that's stretching the truth. Speed.
Peter, I do know one thing. I know LPP has seen my interview with R and Raw.
Yeah.
Because I saw him talking about it.
Was he complaining about it?
Probably pisses him off that those are the people that he'll never interact with.
Well, he drives a lot, and he drives around and he listens to us constantly because I think he hears everything in the atheist community.
Well, so see, and that's commendable because that's probably because he wants to learn.
No, it's because he just loves being enraged by us.
Well, he wants to keep track of things that he can insult people for, so he has to listen in. Like, oh, I got to keep tabs on them.
Yeah.
I think of him as a clown. I think Praise was right, or whoever it was that put him on the stream called him a clown. It matches. He purposely misspells people's names and does all kinds of stupid little things like that. And
yeah,
I have no qualms about calling him a clown for that.
I love when Danny was on AJ's channel, and he's on the channel, and somebody says AJ, and Danny says, "Who's AJ?"
Yeah.
I wonder if this van that he's got. I wonder if the doors occasionally fall off and they make a funny sound.
Okay, somewhere I have a clip of that van. He actually he turned his camera on and he showed the inside of the truck. That he's this big moving truck he's got.
Yeah, so I saw that too.
So he doesn't actually drive a clown car. He drives a clown van.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Clown truck.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
confused. What is it that he has to build with plywood? Like, what
He
are you
drives a
talking?
circus truck, Randolph.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that explains it. Yeah.
Well, he's building all kinds of stuff in it. I wonder if he's soundproofing it and stuff, and
That's gonna be his
decking it
new
out
studio.
as a.
Oh, is he going to pick up little boys on his travel?
I don't know what he's gonna pick
God
up.
damn, Peter, that's wow.
Oh, Peter,
Well,
no, I'm going to catch hell for that one.
Yeah.
You're saying
Peter,
he's
you
going
just
Catholic?
let us down, dude.
So
He has
my
to do something to outdo Smokey.
Oh, I can realize you're competing with him.
God damn it.
Yeah, that's
What
funny.
the
Yeah.
fuck? I'm sorry if if they listen to this. What?
And I came in at the right time.
Yep.
Yeah, he'll
yeah.
probably not like me anymore after I said that, but that's okay.
Well, you think he likes you now?
No. I know for a fact that he doesn't.
Could you
like me.
Could you put up Spooky's comment, please? I find that quite funny.
Showcase Spooky's.
Which one?
What did Spooky Bed here say?
That's the one.
God damn it, Scott!
Yeah,
That's hilarious. Well, except the difference with John Maddox doing it is I even asked him in the stream. He wanted me to join his live chat that time. And I said, sure, do you want to correct my name in the title? And he said, why are you taking it all so personally? I said, I'm not. I just think it's a nice thing to do.
How can you not take it personally? It's your name.
Well, it's... I actually don't mind if people do it, but I think like if he wants to bring me on the stream, I would like it if he'd get my name right.
I think
that seems intentional.
I think that we have to get that in context, because if you have him on your stream, you have to address to him as logical, probable, plausible, and not as John Maddox, because the moment you put John Maddox in the title of your stream, he's going to go nuts. Just have a look at when
the title
he
says coward.
praise his channel.
Especially when it's with the word clown. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or coward.
So hello, quickly. Hello, you beautiful thing, Wild Eden. I hope everything's great in Scotland.
Well, I'm looking at Whispering Streams on the Wild Eden channel.
Oh, she's very talented. She's very talented. Unfortunately, the question of her being alive, even though she's typing in chat, is still an open question, according to some.
Simus, just for a moment, for a tiny moment, I thought you were about to flirt with Sydney. Because he
I've done that before. And do you know where it got me?
No,
he does that in private.
It got me insults about my nationality. Could you believe it?
Okay, I really love how the freak is using an icon with Neo blocking bullets.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's actually not true. There have been shown to be some cultures that have no god concepts at all.
Well, Peter was trying to insult my American nationality for not knowing metric measurements, so I just started yelling the Star Spangled Banner at him so he couldn't talk.
Yeah.
Well, once you get onto metric measurements, you can get onto metric time, 24-hour clock here. No.
Yeah, exactly.
See, AJ, and this is why I became your producer, because if I'm running your stream, I can actually mute you and you can't unmute.
Oh, glory, look at that hole.
Yeah.
Is that Canada's national motto?
I also no. We focus more on beavers and stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
Why does this video remind me of a colonoscopy?
Hold on, Randolph. I live with two women. I might be doing the same.
Yeah. The music's great on this one, actually. How's it go?
The music we can't hear, you mean?
Yeah, the music you can't hear.
Speed,
I'll sing it for you.
Thanks for putting my video in the description yesterday.
Oh, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Did you see it?
I watched part of it.
Yeah. Well, the title pretty much tells you exactly what's in the video.
You mean the Kent Hovind video or the other
Yeah.
one?
Yeah.
Oh,
No, the
yeah,
Kent
no, I
Hovind
did
one.
see that one. I did see that one. So
Yeah.
Water.
I'm linking Wild Eden in the description because I want to.
Okay, I found
Thank
somebody
you.
that really understands John very well, and she's right here, and she would like to say hi to John. Say hi.
Hi.
Hello.
Hey, hello.
She understands John very well. I can't understand him, but she does very well. I have her help me interpretate John's nonsense.
Maddox?
She's 3 years old, and she seems to get him, but I don't. I can't usually figure it out. But she definitely
she's
wanted
very
to say
smart
hi.
then.
She's like a Maddox whisperer.
Oh yeah, definitely.
She's on his intellectual
She was-
level.
Yeah, no, she was after me. I want to say hi. I want to say hi. So I had to let her say hi.
Well, this is her YouTube debut.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
I don't want to let her watch this channel until she's at least 16.
Yeah. No, she doesn't hear.
Wait,
I let
Chris
her- I
Peacock
listen-
said, hold
I
on,
let her
Chris
listen to
Peacock
John.
said Hovind has a week-long ban. How did he get a week-long ban?
A ban from
where?
From what?
From the local elementary school.
I'm supposing that's a ban from YouTube.
I don't know.
I don't think you can be banned from YouTube. But
You
can get
ask Shani for Christ. Just ask Shani for Christ.
Right. I think
You
you can have
can
your
get
channel taken
a
down.
ban from streaming and uploading videos longer than 15 minutes if you get a strike for a little while. So he might not be able to live stream, which he does.
Did somebody just say something about getting banned from an elementary school?
Yeah,
I said that's where Kent got banned from.
Yeah.
Oh, what did he do there? Teach kids about
we got
taxes?
another
I can't talk
segment
about it on
with Kent
YouTube.
California.
Oh. What, he was teaching kids about taxes?
Yeah.
Don't withdraw more than $999.99.
Send your wife to make your withdrawals.
Like when you do that once a week, they record that and they record it as a suspicious activity. So why did he think he could get away with that? It's just
Well, he thought he could get away with it because he had his wife do the withdrawals.
Yeah. Probably.
And also, his lawyer wasn't an actual lawyer. It was just some guy he met in a church somewhere.
Are we talking about Kent Hovind?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Or
when I got my new car, like we took out enough money to just buy it like all at once, and it put us in a higher tax bracket. And they notified the IRS because it was more than 10,000. So Kent he knew what he was doing. That's why all 45 of the charges for structuring the withdrawals all have Joe Hovind's name on them. He sent her every time.
What the hell am I looking at?
Oh, it's concrete. Oh my god. This
Did
guy.
baby Jesus wipe his
That
own
just came up on
ass?
the notifications, and I just could not believe. I'm gonna listen to this later, but this is just,
Okay, this is Tom Rabbit.
yeah.
Yeah.
What did I get?
Why do people even
Concrete,
care?
Concrete Plus is a real.
Why do people even care about
Dingbat.
stuff like this? Ugh.
I just thought it was a funny title.
That's hilarious.
See, now I'm wondering.
This is something apparently Christians spent a little time arguing on Discord.
Was Baby
I'm
Jesus
not on any
super
Christian
smart?
channels, then.
Oh, you should
Wait,
bring it
I'm
up
on
on
Dark
Praise's
Dawkins'
channel.
I'm on Dark Dawkins' channel too. People like to keep asking me about abortion.
Did Tom Rabbit get banned from Darth Dawkins' Discord?
His channel was taken down.
Hmm.
It wasn't Darth's Discord. It was someone else's Discord where Darth has a channel too, and he had.
But I know Tom has his own Discord server. Was this on a different server?
Yeah, he had a channel on a different server, and Darth told the people that either you delete his channel or I'm gone.
That sounds like LPP telling James on Modern Day Debate, like, "Oh, I'm not coming back unless I can insult people in the chat room."
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
No, hold on. I need to correct something. I need to correct something. John said he's not coming back unless James dealt with people, with people making fun of him.
No, unless James allowed him to insult other people.
To respond to Erica.
I think he said something like take jabs at people.
And specifically people in the chat, so people who aren't in the live stream.
Well, I might need to go back. I need to go back and check that. But because
and Erica's insult was basically, I disagree with you, John.
Yeah, and if you do go and check that video, you'll see that my debate with Nephilim Free has more views than that debate. Just saying.
It
doesn't. James, to his credit, James Modern Day Debate's trying to clean all that stuff up, and right now he just put in a policy so the moderators are not to be engaging on these kinds of topics with the chat. They're just there to moderate. So that seems to be working pretty good. Actually, it's getting less toxic lately.
Well, one thing I don't agree with is that he takes people's wrench away and then tells them that their wrench is taken away because you insulted someone in chat.
Well, Peter, he said that he thought you might have insulted someone. He didn't even know if you did it, because I went back and read the chat, and he says that you might have done it.
Yeah, and I told him.
So he doesn't even know.
Yeah, and I told him I didn't, and then he said you can get the wrench back if you do volunteer work for the channel. So, well, that's not something I'm going to do.
Yeah, I mean, who really cares about having a wrench on there?
Yeah.
So, guys, did we do any more damage today, or
the other day, Praise I Am That I Am gave me moderator status on his channel.
Really?
Oh, that's new.
Yeah, I shared a parody video of Roy Zimmerman singing Joel Osteen to Dolly Parton's tune Jolene, and Praise loved it. So I think that's why he gave me the wrench. So
can I have a link to that
video? Sure. Let me find it real quickly for you. I'll put it in private chat here for you in just a moment.
Aceto Salicylic Monk left the back room and came back. What?
That's what it says whenever you quit sharing a screen.
Yeah, that's interesting. So that must be the plugin, right, Peter? That's doing this, or is this a new StreamYard thing?
Correct.
What do you mean?
It's in the private chat.
Okay, is that the? Oh, cool. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, it's funny. This one's great.
I will check it out.
I missed entirely what you meant, Speed, so I have no clue what you're asking.
Okay, this new thing where every time you stop sharing a stream, it says you've left the back room.
Yeah,
or
that's
when
the
you.
script. That's the script.
Okay.
Yeah, I think Dave is going to make a toggle switch for that. So you can
the back room. Yeah, that'd be cool.
Hey,
I
shout
need
out
a
to
toggle
Cripple
switch.
Cripple. That guy's cool.
I need a toggle switch so I can mute everybody, but just unmute one person. Wouldn't that be a good addition?
I think there's a toggle switch where you can mute everyone.
Yeah, you can mute everybody, but you can't unmute one person. I don't think. Well, hang on a second. Let me try it on. I'm going to mute you all. Wait a minute. Unmute all. Why does it say unmute? Okay, mute guest. Mute guest. Okay, I'm going to unmute AJ. Yeah, I can't unmute AJ. So let me. Oh, God. I don't know how to unmute you guys. Oh, shit. We're going to have to shoot it in the head. What the? Come on, unmute. Okay. Okay,
I'm
guys.
unmuted.
Now you guys should be able to unmute. I'm sorry. Okay.
That not work anymore.
What the hell's going on?
He's messing with you.
You're fucking with me. Okay. Okay. Anyway, guys. So
At least Cafe had a good time today. You know, talking woo, Cafe and Defunct.
I've unmuted myself. The beast is out of its cage.
Yeah, they've been having a nice woo talk all afternoon. Yeah, so that's
where?
Nice. Cafe and the Freak there have been having a nice. woo talk.
Oh, yeah.
For the past
Yeah.
so they've been enjoying each other.
So I think Andrew wants us to answer this question. I guess he's polling the room. If I were to debate LPP on phylogenetics, how well does everyone think I do?
John Maddox is low-hanging fruit. Anybody can do better than him in a debate.
It's pretty much like debating Kent Hovind on evolution.
Okay, I think there's going to be a debate on something with John Peterson and who the hell?
When?
I don't know. Anyway, well, I probably shouldn't say anymore, but I can't remember who the fuck was it. Anyway, on phylogenetics, you're not going to get anywhere with him at all. He's going to want to talk about information and how complex things are, and in any other context, do you think an iPhone could create itself?
With great power comes great responsibility.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, John Maddox fancies himself a computer expert, and will try to grill you on the Turing test if he thinks the conversation warrants it.
Yeah. That definitely comes into phylogenetics a lot. That information stuff, and anyway, Jesus is a mithering fecker.
He's just going to make the debate about DNA code garbage that no one wants to listen to.
Yeah, he does that.
Yeah, I don't know. It would be interesting to see you in a debate with John or with Lil PP. So. Anyway, well, guys, I kind of want to shoot it in the head.
No.
Okay,
Yeah.
well,
I'm ready.
let me just say, I think John Maddox would fail the Turing test because he probably can't get from Tennessee to Florida.
Jesus.
Well, he can't figure out how to get the plywood in his truck.
So should we run a GoFundMe so we can give John Maddox the same GPS that Shani for Christ and her dipshit husband had?
I thought you were going to say...
Are they the ones that didn't pay their rent?
Well, no, it's not that. They didn't pay their rent and then demolished the property.
Man, the saga of Shani and Rev has gotten insane. I remember there was a what was it like cognitive. I remember there was another channel reporting on it, which usually never does. So I was like, wow, they're branching out in the community.
The latest is that G-Man is now trying to woo Shani, and he's probably going to be successful, and she's going to destroy him as well. It's going to be a glorious year from now on.
I'm rooting for G-Man. I'm rooting for him.
Well, no, hold on. The reason why Shani even got rid of Rev is because he was rich. What the fuck does G-Man have to offer?
Money.
BBC.
More money than Rev.
How did he win the lottery?
I think he still has a job, so he has more money than Rev because he can still travel. They're stuck at who was it, Rev's uncle's house now that they're now trashing.
Somebody made the joke that I didn't want to say already.
Well, go ahead.
No, somebody already said it.
Well, what's the joke?
It's okay. If you go back in the stream,
you'll have to rewind.
I'm not saying a joke twice because if it's barely funny the first time, it's definitely not funny the second time.
Well, fine. You can tell me. You can tell me. Oh, you can tell me backstage.
Yeah, I'll tell you backstage. Yeah.
Simus, may I remind you that you shot me a picture that you said was going to be a running gag. A running gag is literally a joke being told several times.
Yes, I realize that.
You don't want to gag on this joke. Let's just say that this isn't a joke you want.
And the moment you start talking about gags, that's where Danny shows up.
Okay, guys, I recognize that things are evolving.
It's going too far. It's going too far.
I recovered.
Okay. We're going to shoot
I also need to remind you got 45 minutes to your next venue.
I know. Okay. So I have to go out and do my walk. Okay, guys, we're going to shoot it in the show.
What's his next venue?
Shoot in the head. What the
Shooting
fuck?
in the show?
Shoot in the show, man. We're shooting the show in the fucking head. Okay. Goodbye, guys.
Goodbye, cruel world.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye, cruel world.
Jesus ain't going to save you today.
Bye.
Bye.